Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Devil's Digest game preview as Arizona State gets set to host Utah here at Mountain America Stadium on Friday at 7:30 p.m. As always, my name is Justin Lashford, host of That's publisher Hode Rubino. And Hode, short week for ASU, and coming into this game, a couple key absences in this first half against arguably the toughest team that ASU has played all season long.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge test, Justin, and I like what ASU head coach Kenny Dillingham said, that this is just not just a yardstick season evaluation, so to speak, but also a 10-month evaluation. In other words, from the minute they came here in the spring semester, all the work that they put in, one game that it really has to manifest itself is playing arguably the best team in the Big 12 in Utah. So this is definitely a huge test for Arizona State. There's definitely a lot of obstacles that they do have to encounter, but it seems like every win. I know Justin and I sound like a broken record. We talk about resolve, we talk about resiliency, but those are the exact traits that ASU is probably going to have to exhibit against Utah. This is by far the toughest team they've had so far this season. So I'm curious to see, not only from an X's and O's perspective, all the gains that were made in the last 10 months, but also that character and those intangibles that seem to show up in almost each and every ASU win this year. Can they show up again on Friday? That's going to be huge to see.
Yeah, and going into this Kansas game, the Jayhawks had a high-level defense, statistically speaking, but didn't necessarily have the record to show that. Now, Utah, they have a high-level defense, and they do have the record to show for that. Only giving up about 15 points per game. What's ASU's offense going to have to do against this defense?
Yeah, that is just a really mind-boggling number. Just think about just over 2 touchdowns on average. Even when they lost to U of A last week, they only gave up 23 points, so it's not like U of A was running up and down the field on them. When you look at Utah, it really just starts and ends, I think, with their front seven. I mean, their defensive line and linebackers every season, it seems like, are just absolute elite level collectively, and not only that, but just a good 2-3 levels above any other team in the conference, whether it used to be the Pac-12 or right now it is the Big 12. I mean, you look at the numbers, 12 sacks, 33 tackles for loss. They give up only 107 yards on the ground, 173 yards in the air. So they're just stingy all around. And like I said, unlike Kansas, they only lost one game. They not only win one game. But when you look at the game that they played against U of A a couple weeks ago, Utah is coming here after a bye week. It does not like U of A with Noah Fifita and a great stable of wide receivers were passing all over the field. They only passed for 197 yards collectively, but they were able to rush for 175 yards. Is it fun running against this Utah run defense? Absolutely not. But ASU, which their ground attack is their bread and butter to begin with, are going to have to find a way to run and run often and run with a great degree of success against Utah. Another reason why they want to do that, aside from winning the game, is also controlling the clock, the time possession. U of A only had 3 minutes fewer than Utah in the time possession. That was obviously a huge aspect in that game. And we're going to talk in a second about the first half absences of some key defensive players for Arizona State. So, especially in the first half, if ASU is able to really win decisively that time of possession battle, buy time for the defense that needs to survive with those 2 key first half absences, that is something that really can go a long way for Arizona State. The one last thing I'll mention is that we know that Sam Leavitt is a very mobile quarterback. We've been very impressed with the rushing yards he's putting up. I don't know if against such a talented front seven he's going to be able to run with the same degree of success. But what I will say is that his ability to stay in the pocket and maybe sometimes stay, knowing he's going to get hit by the pass rush is really going to be huge, because while Utah doesn't have a glaring deficiency in the secondary, I still do feel that there are some plays in the aerial attack that to be had against Utah. So Sam Leavitt being able to have a good pocket presence, or if he needs to throw off platform to do so effectively, those are going to be key aspects, aside from the obvious that ASU's run game that was sensational against Kansas last week definitely has to show up on Friday night.
Yeah, and we mentioned it. 2 key players out for ASU's defense in this first half because of the targeting penalties, Clayton Smith and Keyshawn Elliott, 2 of the sort of backbones of this Arizona State defense. And We still don't know if quarterback Cam Rising is going to suit up for Utah, but Kenny Dillingham and Brian Ward both said we got to prepare for that same Utah team. What do you sort of expect to see out of ASU's defense coming into this?
And by the way, Justin, even the folks in Salt Lake City don't know if Cam Rising is or is not going to play. The way head coach Kyle Whittingham has handled Cam Rising's injury this year and even handling it last year has been something to behold. But let's not digress on that. Look, if I'm Arizona State, Justin, I mean, sure, whoever plays quarterback is an important part of your game plan, and ASU rightfully is going to prepare for both. But first and foremost, you have a rushing attack that averages 181 yards, again, we saw that when they were not able to rush the ball all that well 2 weeks ago against U of A, Micah Bernard, their star running back, only had 97 yards. Then Utah came on the losing end of that. So again, I'm not saying quarterback is something that you're going to have to that you want to overlook anyway. But if you can really just win the battle of the trenches and really try to slow down successfully, I should say, the running game for Utah, then that is something that can help ASU quite a bit to win this game. Now, look, I mean, even if Cam Rising is going to play, let's put some things on the table. I mean, he's an absolutely talented quarterback. Nobody should even try to spin this elsewhere. But he is somebody who, due to a blowout win and an injury, has yet to play a full game this year. And all of last year, obviously, he did not play after a severe near injury. So, to think that Cam Rising would come over here against what I think is a pretty good ASU defense, again, a defense that's going to have to contend with the absences of Clayton Smith and Keyshawn Elliott in the first half, I don't see him just coming in here and just throwing for 350 yards and just really punishing the secondary, on each and every down. So I think, even if he does play, which again is right now is an unknown. I know I said last week that he's for sure going to play. I really have to rein that back a little after what I'm hearing, but we'll see. By the way, Cam Rising is going to be dressed, is going to warm up. He did that against Arizona 2 weeks ago. I don't see him not doing it on Friday night in Tempe. Whether he plays, whether he starts, that's going to be a whole different story. But if it's going to be Isaac Wilson, I think that just having the fact that you do have a young quarterback, and it's one of those aspects where he doesn't know what he doesn't know. So if you can throw the complex and really creative coverages, really do a lot of pre-snap movement to confuse him, I think ASU can find some success if Wilson is going to be the starter and the one that's going to play the whole game behind center. I know Arizona's defense surprised a lot of people 2 weeks ago, but I don't think that their level of defense and their level of game planning is light years better than Arizona State. So whatever Arizona was able to achieve on defense 2 weeks ago, I think ASU should have a reasonable chance to achieve the same. So again, I know the quarterback saga is going to be a story for for the next 24 hours or so, but the running game for Utah, Micah Bernard, that is where I think most of the focus for the ASU defense has to be on Friday night. Yeah,
no, it seems like we say this every week, but it's especially true going against Utah. A big test of character for Arizona State, who's now 4-1 on the season, and Utah is head over heels the best team that ASU's played so far this season. Not coming into this game as massive underdogs, but coming in at home against one of the nationally renowned teams in all of college football. So do you expect ASU to potentially muster up an upset?
It's going to be hard. I mean, all the obstacles are really there. We talked about the first half absences that ASU is going to encounter on defense. We're talking about a Utah team that is coming plenty motivated and rested after a bye, lost their game to Arizona right before the bye. They're definitely coming with a strong sense of purpose over here. But I think we just put that all aside. I think ASU has a lot to be proud of their 4-1 season for date. The gains that they made from 2023 to 2024 are absolutely evident, and nobody has to really put a spin on them to portray it in an extra flattering light or anything like that. Having said that, when you struggle to beat one of the worst teams in the Big 12 in Kansas on your home turf, and again, I'm not taking anything away from all the character traits that we've seen in each and every ASU win show up also against Kansas, but when you play the way you do against them, and now you got a team that I think is just a country mile better than Kansas in Utah. Again, they're coming rested after a bye week. You did have a short prep week. I think that is a scenario that can really make it hard for ASU to overcome such a good opponent in Utah. So my prediction for this game is Utah winning 27-20.
Well, that's going to do it for the Devil's Digest game preview. For all the pregame, in-game, and post-game coverage, go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devil's Digest on Twitter @DevilsDigest. As always, my name is Justin Lester. So that's publisher Hoder Bino. We'll talk to you guys soon.